Hey, this is Luke from Grow My Ads, and in today's video, we've got some extremely exciting stuff to share with you relating to how you can use Chat GPT to not only write the best possible ads for Google Ads, but also to help you split test and improve the click-through rate and conversion rate you get from your search ads inside Google Ads. So I'm gonna jump straight into the prompts that we're gonna be sharing with you in this video and work you through a simple starting prompt, then a slightly more advanced one that yields slightly better results, then a full-blown split testing masterclass on how to use ChatGPT to actually help you run your split tests inside of responsive search ads. So let's get straight into the prompts and get started writing some ads. Very briefly, I just want to show you what the interface looks like when you're trying to create text ads inside of Google Ads now. So previously, you'd basically fill out one headline and you'd fill out a description and you'd basically have that same ad show every single time. What we have now is, once we fill out the URL, we're required to add multiple headlines inside of responsive search ads and multiple descriptions. So it can be quite time consuming writing out all these different headlines, minimum 3, and usually we need to add maybe at least 5 or so. It's difficult to come up with ideas on variations for Google to test. But obviously, we need to have these variations so we can A, get the ad live, and B, we need to make sure these variations are compelling enough that people are going to want to click on our ad. So this is where ChatGPT can be extremely useful in coming up with compelling ad copy if it's prompted correctly, and helping us to fill up the different headlines and descriptions that we have to complete in order to get our ad live. So during this video, I'm going to be creating ad copy for this particular company here. It's just a flooring company. I found if they happen to see this video, they're gonna get plenty of ad ideas from it. But obviously, when you're creating these prompts, you can use content from your own website, or you can use content from a competitor's website if you want to be able to extract some of that information and kind of use it to come up with ideas for yourself. So you can use either of those things. But in this case, we're going to be creating copy for this particular flooring company. So let me show you the initial prompt, and we're going to be working through these one at a time. So this is the first one. It's the simplest one, and it does okay. It's the quickest one to enter to implement, but you'll see there are some limitations to it. So what's the prompt? You are an expert direct response copywriter who can write high converting and high click-through rate ads for Google Ads. So we're basically setting the directive and telling the AI who it needs to act as. You're writing Google responsive search ads for the following company: website, name a company, main service offering, describe your ideal customer, and then I'm telling it to write 10 headlines and 5 descriptions for a Google ad campaign for this company to keep it relevant, benefit focused, and then I'm specifying the character length for the headlines and descriptions. So it is kind of a lot of effort. I mean, this is the ideal way to do it, or the easiest way to do it, or the simplest way to do it is to just write out this stuff here. But that does take a bit of time. You've got to kind of think through and describe your ideal customer and describe your main service offering and obviously fill out the rest. I prefer to do it the lazy way and simply to extract that information using the website itself. Now, if you plug this prompt straight into ChatGPT, it will actually pull out some headlines for you, but it can't access the website directly because the browsing feature, which used to be enabled in the paid version of ChatGPT, has now been disabled for some reason, and so it can't actually view the website directly. But you have a way to get around this for free using Bing Chat. So if you go to bing.com/new and you do need to create an account or at least log in to Bing, you can click Chat Now with Bing, and it will allow you to use Bing to not only access websites directly and browse and summarize data on websites, but also to use GPT-4 language model for free, which is normally a paid feature of the ChatGPT account. So here you can basically enter that prompt, and I've just plugged it in here, so it's a very similar prompt, and it has taken a look at the website and given me 10 headlines and several descriptions for this company based on the content on the website. So these are okay. I had a couple issues with these initially. They do use the name of the company in every single headline, which gets a bit repetitive. And they could be a little bit more benefit focused and a little bit more compelling for potential customers. So these can be refined a little bit by going to the second method of ad generation, which is basically using an even more detailed website analysis. So let's get into that now. So one of the other issues with that previous prompt, before we get into this one, is that gave us headlines and descriptions, but they weren't necessarily within the character limit that I required, because for some reason, the language learning model isn't able to accurately count the number of characters in various phrases or sentences that I'm getting it to generate. Now, there is a way to get around this, but it does require the paid ChatGPT 4 account. So if you're writing ad copy, and this is gonna save you several hours, for 20 bucks, it's probably worth it. But the rest of this video will be using GPT-4. However, a lot of this can be done through Bing, which is obviously the free way to access the GPT-4 language model. So you're welcome to try it there as well. So in the second method, we're going to be using the Bing search engine and the kind of interactivity it has with the website to extract some information about this business and to essentially get Bing and ChatGPT or GPT-4 to summarize the core elements of what makes this business unique, what makes its offer compelling, and essentially why people choose to do business with this company over alternatives. So here's the initial first prompt. Browse this website. I'm going to show you the result in a second. Provide the following to assist with creating marketing materials for this company. Main list of services, target market, unique selling proposition, advantages of working with this company over competitors, main motivations of potential customers needing this service, primary features of the main services, major corresponding benefits of these services, and any other key information about this business. So I've plugged in that prompt into Bing, and it's actually gone to the website and tried to evaluate these questions and summarize them in a response. And this is what it came up with. So I'm not going to read through the whole response here, but essentially it's listed out the main services. It's given me the target market. It's given me a few unique selling propositions, advantages of working with this company over others. It's given us the main motivations of potential customers needing this service and why they would choose to work with this company. It's given us the features and the benefits, and it's given us a little bit of other key information about this business. So this is all really good stuff. Now, I want to start bringing all of this together in order to start writing our ads, because this is essentially extracting the core of what our ads are going to be based on, and it's going to give us the material with which to write really, really good ads. So what you then do is you move on to the second stage in this second method, which is go into ChatGPT, select the advanced data analysis setting, which I'll show you in a second, and then enter this next longer prompt. So let's go ahead and do that now. So again, this is in the paid version of ChatGPT. You select GPT-4 and then you select advanced data analysis. The reason we're using advanced data analysis is that it has the ability to correctly count the number of characters in each line, which every other version of ChatGPT does not. And that's important if we're going to say inside the character requirements of the headlines and the descriptions inside of Google Ads responsive search ads. So to be specific, responsive search ads need headlines of no more than 30 characters and descriptions of no more than 90 characters. And typically, if you can have them take up as much of that space as possible, you've got more room to actually deliver your message and to grab someone's attention to click on your ad. So if you select advanced data analysis, and I'm not going to go through this whole prompt, but obviously this whole document is linked in the description. You can read the prompt yourself. Essentially, to summarize it, we're giving very specific instructions to ChatGPT on what kind of ads we want. We're specifying how long they need to be. We're talking about the tone that we want, and we're specifying exactly how to write them and the details that we're hoping that it can include in these headlines. So I'm going to select this whole prompt here and copy. I'm going to go over to ChatGPT, paste it in, and then the one piece that has to be customized, and that is basically taking the response from step one and pasting it in to this prompt also. So I'm going to grab this, I'm going to copy this response from Bing and paste it into ChatGPT. I'm just going to remove the references here because that's fine. And essentially, if I go back to the prompt, you can see that I'm essentially writing ad copy for a campaign targeted at people looking for the company described as follows. And that's going to include all the information that's been extracted by Bing from browsing the website that we're writing the ads about. So once I do that, the other piece that you can specify, which you don't have to specify, is the primary focus of the campaign. So in this case, it would be flooring services. However, in general, it could just be the core service that the company provides, and the prompt will be able to figure that out. So I'm just going to enter flooring services, and let's get started. So you can see that it's come up with several headlines here, and now it's actually going to check if those headlines are in the correct range based on the specifications I've asked it to sit within for character count. And it's worked out that they do fit within that range. So I've given it a range rather than saying exactly 30 characters, because it is quite difficult to write headlines that meet a specific number of characters. But often if I said less than 30 characters, it would write headlines that were very short. So you have to also give it a minimum number of characters as well. And this is the way to get it to write the best possible result. So these are pretty good. It's written the headlines to start with. It's asked me if I like them, and if I do like them, I can get it to proceed with the descriptions. So if there are any headlines in here, I might say, you know, I don't like this headline, rewrite that one. But in general, they fit within the range of the character count I've given it. And for the most part, I'm only actually gonna be choosing maybe 2 to 3, probably no more than 5 headlines for one responsive search ad. And these look okay to me. So I'm actually gonna get it to proceed with the descriptions. So I'm just gonna say, proceed. So it's written these descriptions now, and it is going to check if they are the right length for at least 75 characters, but less than 90, which is what Google requires. A couple of these headlines have to be adjusted because they're not long enough. So I am trying to get ChatGPT to use the full amount of space that we are allowed to within these descriptions. So it's asking me to review, and if I like the headlines in general, then I can get it to give me the final summary and list of headlines and descriptions. Now, again, I'm only going to be picking out maybe 2 or 3 of these that I especially like for testing within my responsive search ad, because we're talking about one responsive search ad here. So I'm not going to be using all of them. Some of them aren't really as compelling as others. Some of them may not actually be completely accurate to the services that we offer. So you just want to choose the ones that make the most sense for your business. But for the most part, these look pretty good and they do seem worth testing. So I'm going to say, great, just proceed. So last thing it's going to do is going to do a last final check of the number of characters that I've asked it to, and it's going to determine if it needs to make any adjustments. Now I will note here that it has tried to skip over adjusting some of these headlines. So I told it the headlines need to be at least 24 characters, and several of them are below this. So I'm going to actually tell it that in order to get it to correct it. So now I've called it out, it does actually know that some of these headlines are too short, and it's going to make those adjustments so that they're all going to be using at least 24 characters. It's still got one that's below 24 characters, but I may just choose to skip that headline, or I could reword it myself, and that actually is sometimes easier than trying to force ChatGPT to correct itself over and over again. It's basically given me a foundation that I can use to then start creating my ad, and that for the most part is good enough at this stage. So in conclusion, I'm just gonna get it to basically create a table, and the table is going to just give me my ads and my headlines and my descriptions. Now, if I had one issue with these headlines, and these descriptions especially, it's that they are a bit fluffy. You know, excellence in every step. Modern technology, they're a little vague and they're a little bit too focused on features maybe, and they're not specific and punchy enough, and they don't really clearly articulate benefits of choosing this company. And this is why I basically started to develop a third method to use ChatGPT to write ad copy that actually starts to extract the real benefits of choosing a company so that they can be incorporated into the ads that I'm writing. And on top of that, allows me to do an actual split test with multiple responsive search ads. So let's get into this third method now that's gonna show you how to create the ultimate ads using ChatGPT using what I call benefit extraction. So each time we're actually going a bit deeper with how we are prompting and priming the language learning model to write the ads that we want. And usually it takes a bit more time to add these additional steps, but because we're really directing the language learning model to write the ads in the way that we want, we do end up with a better result and much more compelling ads at the end. And so that's really where this methodology comes in. So the first stage of this prompt is the same. We're using Bing to take a look at the website and then evaluate it using GPT-4 and summarize it into the list of bullets that we previously covered. But step 2 is now slightly different. We now want to use GPT-4 to start to summarize and extract the motivations of the market, because then we can create ads around what people are actually looking for. So here I've written the prompt as follows. You are a world-class marketing audience research expert with a doctorate in behavioral psychology and masters in human emotion. Today I'm going to ask you to apply those skills to analyze the psyche of a client avatar targeted by this company. That's when we paste in the result that we've extracted from the website using Bing GPT-4. Then I'm asking ChatGPT, give me a bulleted list of the motivations of a prospective customer of this company when it comes to working with a company in the industry of the company linked. So it's a bit long worded, but you get the idea. Include a list of hesitations that they may have around working with such a company and the biggest reasons why they may choose to work with a particular provider over another. List also what they are probably looking for in terms of features and benefits of a potential company. Finally, include psychological motivations and fears and buying triggers. Try to describe these elements more clearly and deeply than the prospective customer can articulate themselves. We're really trying to get into the head of a customer first in order to start to write our ad copy. So this is where ChatGPT actually starts to become very powerful. And here you can see it's listed out a lot of really in-depth motivations and concerns and reasons to buy that prospective flooring customers would have. Features and benefits that they're looking for, and specific reasons why they might choose one provider over another. So this list here, and I'm going to include the actual output of this full prompt in a link inside the description, but this is exactly the building blocks of good copy. If you're actually a copywriter, this is what you're looking for when you're trying to write copy for a sales page or for an ad. And so this is exactly what's going to help us create really powerful ads going forwards. So then I asked ChatGPT, based on the response above, come up with 10 to 20 potential features and 10 to 20 potential benefits for this company that are what customers are going to be looking for. And again, it's able to spit out really detailed and specific things that people are after in terms of features and the benefits of those features for customers in terms of the actual end result that they're going to get when they use those features or have the advantage of those features. So once you actually grab these features, this is when the ad writing really starts. So now once I've had it, grab 10 to 20 of the best potential features and 10 to 20 of the most compelling benefits. And in this case, I've actually asked it to summarize it just down to 10 each of the ones that are most relevant to the services that this company offers using this prompt here. I then basically use what does seem to be a pretty long prompt and is a very detailed prompt that you can kind of read through yourself when you take a look at the doc in the description. But essentially what I'm asking it to do is to create 3 ads, each with several headlines, 5 headlines, and 3 descriptions that are themed differently so that I can input these ads as responsive search ad copy inside of the Google Ads interface. So why am I doing this? Well, basically responsive search ads no longer operate as text ads used to. You can't choose a specific headline and a specific description and have Google show those every single time. So it's very difficult to test specific copy in your ads and to move the needle on performance with ad copy. So what can you do instead? Well, what is the best practice now and what really makes the most sense is to not restrict Google completely and obviously give it enough headlines and descriptions inside of the ad so that it can test within a single ad, but to create themes between different ads so that Google can split test the themes. So in this case here, I've specified the following. I'm gonna split test 3 responsive search ads in Google Ads. A responsive search ad is made of 5 headlines and 2 to 3 descriptions. First, I want you to decide the themes of each ad that are gonna be split tested. And then once I approve that, create the ad copy, headlines, and create the descriptions from that point and make sure that they fit within the parameters that I've specified in terms of character count. Again, we have to make sure that it fits within the limits inside of Google. Once it's gone through all of this, it's then going to create a table of those headlines and descriptions and organized by theme so that I can choose which 2 of those 3 that I want to test inside of Google Ads. So let's see what it actually outputs. So once I paste in my prompt, it's gonna come up with some headlines. It's gonna measure whether or not those headlines are actually long enough for the requirements that I have of 30 characters. Once I've approved, then it's gonna come up with descriptions. Then it's actually going to organize these into themes, and finally it's going to output a table. And so this is all organized inside the one prompt, so I've actually done a lot of the work for you, so it should be pretty easy to implement at your end. And finally it's gonna spit out the following: theme, flooring, quality and craftsmanship versus theme, flooring, value and benefits. 5 headlines that are relevant to this theme that we can test against 5 other headlines that are relevant to this other theme. And that way, when we input this into Google Ads, there's enough variation there that we can actually draw a conclusion between one ad and the other and see which angle is going to get us the best click-through rate and the best conversion rate. So I definitely recommend reading through the full prompt so you can really see like what we're asking ChatGPT to do. But if you really want to, you could just paste it in and see the output and follow the steps that ChatGPT is asking you to approve as it goes through each stage of this prompt. And finally, your output is going to be really powerful headlines and descriptions that you can test inside of your responsive search ads for a particular ad group or a particular campaign. So this does take a bit longer than using the basic prompt, but when you see the difference between this and the basic shortened headlines that we had from before, let me see if I can find it here. You know, before we had headlines, ADC floors, quality flooring services. Get your dream floor with ADC floors. It's pretty generic. It's pretty, unremarkable. Now we're getting expert flooring craftsmanship. Durable floors built to last. Floors crafted for elegance. Top quality flooring choices, where craft meets quality. These are more specific, they're more compelling, they're more professional, I would say, and they're gonna stand out more in a crowded market like this so that people are more likely to click on these ads and ultimately more likely to actually go through to our page and convert. This hopefully has been helpful. You can go through the full documentation with all of the different prompts inside of the Google Doc attached to this video's description. And you can test it out for yourself, and you can obviously respond back and forth with ChatGPT in order to refine this, but this is actually helping write ad headlines much quicker and much more easily than writing them out yourself. And it's going to make your life a lot easier so that you can test more ads and you can start to improve the click-through rate on your search ads and start to get better performance from your search campaigns overall. So let me know if you have any questions on these prompts in the comments below, but otherwise, happy testing with these prompts, and I'm looking forward to seeing you get better results with your Google Ads going forwards.